Do me a favour, guys. If you can hear me, give us a number 1 in the chat. Can anyone hear me? Can you give us an indication if you can hear me, please, guys? Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Folks,
no. Got to delete. Not delete. Turn that down. Thanks very much. So I'm just putting me. Oh, what's going on here? I'm just trying to bring the stream up on my phone as well, so that I can keep an eye on what you're seeing, so I know that things are working. Sorry about the lighting. It's about a 10-second delay, I think. Just give it a few more seconds. Excuse me. Gareth, I've got a light, but it's one of them energy saver ones. It's not very bright, and my studio lights aren't working at the moment. I need to get some more, so I apologise. God, it's warm tonight. Right, have a sip of my coffee. As I said, this I'm using, as you can see there, I think it is, powered by StreamYard. No, it is about 10 seconds. I've got the I've got my my mobile on as well, which I'm watching separately. Oh, actually, it's a bit longer than 10 seconds now, but okay. Righty. Yeah, okay. The reason I'm doing this live stream, as you probably saw yesterday, I put that video up about the officer that was attacked in London. I put it up without putting any information in the description. I got the video. I wanted to get it out there quickly with a view to doing a follow-up video today to one of my normal style videos. But a few people jumped into the comments and pointed out to me that it looked as though I was sort of not condemning the actions that have taken place. And in fact, although I don't particularly like the police force in any way, shape or form, I do not condone, and I'll say this again, do not condone any violence towards anybody, even the police. The only time violence should be necessary is if you're trying to preserve your life or somebody else's life, in my opinion. And that leads me on to a quick disclaimer as well. Everything that I say and show you in this video is based on my opinion and my views, unless I can show you where I've got that information from. Okay, if I show you where that information's come from, then you take it for what it is. Anything else is just my views and my opinions. there's a lot of comments going on. I am afraid I'm not going to be able to answer all of them because I don't want this to go on forever. I want to get sort of to the point. Although I do want to have discussions with you about what you think. But let's not let this get. I mean, I'm all for freedom of speech, okay, but there is still a limit. So let's not let this get racist or anything like that, okay. I don't believe in Islamophobia, so I don't think that there's a problem with criticising a religion, in my opinion. But I think that you still can be racist in certain instances. So let's try and keep this, you know, an adult conversation. Right. So that video that I put up yesterday was pretty graphic, and you're going to see some graphic images in this live stream as well. So, so if you're squeamish, then I will give you some warning prior to the image being shown. But I've gone through about 10 or 12 different articles from different newspapers about what happened in northeast London 2 days ago. And although the kind of concept of the stories, the articles are the same, there are obviously differing accounts, slightly different information in some of them. But one of the things that I've noticed the most, and I've said this before, it doesn't matter if it's a white man or a black man or an Asian, it doesn't matter, okay? You shouldn't be afraid to say who the person was that committed an offence. You shouldn't have to be afraid to say, see you later then, Fluke. You shouldn't be afraid to say what, you know, the facts of the matter. The fact is the guy was black. Okay. There's no getting away from that. And although it's not been reported in the newspapers or any of the articles that I've seen so far, it appears the guy may well have been Muslim as well, which a lot of people have been saying in the comments. Now, again, I don't mind talking about religions. I don't think it's Islamophobic. I don't think there's an issue with discussing religions. In fact, it's in our human rights that we can discuss religions. But right, so this is a problem with all the comments coming up. There's so many people commenting, which is great, but it puts me off my stride. So I'm going to get into it, right? Let me share my screen. Again, please forgive me as I'm learning to navigate this this system for the first time. Okay. I just need to see if this is coming up on my second screen. Right, so you can all see that now. This is the Sky News page. The Sky News, and this is, you might think that this is a really pathetic thing to bring up. You might think I'm being pedantic, but considering these are all mainstream media outlets, you'd think that they would all have, the same information. The police have given the police gave a press release with all the information, but yet the newspapers still can't get it right. Still can't get it right. And what I mean by that is, first of all, we've got this here. Okay, the officer who is in his 30s, okay, suffered serious injuries and is undergoing hand surgery. Right, so the officer who is in his 30s. That's from Sky. That's from Sky News. BBC say that he was 28. Okay, and again, you might not think this is important, but to me it is. When you're trying to deliver the news, you should have all of the facts, and yet they're not. The facts differ slightly in all of these stories. We'll get to that thing about being stabbed as well in a minute. The Independent, there's the guy there. So the Independent, it says he was 28-year-olds. The Mail Online says he was 28. My London says he was 28. ITV says he's 28. Okay, The Sun also says he's 28. Where is it? There we go, the 28-year-old. And this is where it gets funny as well, because the Telegraph in this article says he was 28, which was posted on the 8th of August. And in this article, which was posted a day later, it says he was 29. And Patrick Sawyer was involved in both articles, and they've got the age wrong in both of them. Again, you might think I'm being pedantic. I think as a mainstream media outlet, when you get a press release from the police that's going to have the guy's age in it, then you should at least be able to get that fact right. And it worries me that if you get something as simple as the age wrong, what else are these people getting wrong in their articles? Is it done on purpose? You know, are they just stupid? I don't know. But simple things like that. And for that matter, the guy who attacked the police officer, it would appear that all of the mainstream media outlets have got his name wrong as well, slightly, only slightly. And I'll show you that in a minute. But this police officer, where is he? This police officer, as you know, story goes that he was on patrol. Let's find a, there he is. Story goes that he was on patrol and a van came along that was flagged up as not having insurance. They stopped the van, PC out and went to speak to the driver. The driver got out of the van. There was a discussion. It's not clear what happened during that discussion, but there was a discussion. The suspect, we'll call him, Mohammed, got back in the van. Okay. And then from that point, it is unclear exactly what happened at that point. But then literally seconds later, he's turned around, he's got out of the van with a machete, Now, the papers and the news are suggesting that this police officer was stabbed. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. So if you're squeamish, please look away. I'm not even sure if this is going to show up. I'm going to have to wait just a second to see if this shows up. But these are not, if you can see that image, they are not stab wounds. Okay, this guy has been hacked with the machete. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't think you can. It's not sure what's going on. Right, okay, so it's still on that page. Right, okay, I apologize, guys. Again, I'm still trying to get used to this system. So please bear with me. Right, there we go. I'll just share my entire screen. Oh, yeah, I'll just share my entire screen. I'm sorry that I'm still trying to get used to this system. Please forgive me. So this is the damage that was done to PC Alton. And you know, that is clearly not stab wounds. Okay. How anybody can do that to somebody else is beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. I've never used a weapon in my life for fear of actually doing somebody some real damage, but clearly some people are, you know, they're just fucked up. I don't know how else to say it. But that, guys, that is what that officer looked like the day after the attack, okay, or later that evening. And again, that's not a stab, but yet, as far as I can tell, everyone's saying that he was stabbed with it. I went through, and as I say, I've got the Sky News, BBC, Independent, Mail Online, My London, ITV, The Sun, and 2 articles from The Telegraph. And I've been through all of them. And, you know, I have to say that they've been very careful not to say the word black or the word Muslim, as we would expect, because, you know, they don't want to upset anybody. I mean, why you wouldn't want to upset anybody when a black man who appears to be a Muslim based on his Facebook profile goes and does that to somebody? Why would you want to protect their feelings, or you know, why should they have the right to have their feelings protected by not calling them what they are, which is black or Muslim, which I'll show you in a minute why I think he was Muslim. All of these mainstream media outlets would have had access to this guy's Facebook page, okay, which this is his Facebook page. This is running a little bit slow. Right. I'm going to have to shut all these other windows. I'm not going to be reading all of these articles out, okay? I mean, you know, you can find these articles anyway, so I'm going to shut these windows down here, like that. And this is Mohammed's Facebook page. However, in all of the news reports, they've said his name is Mohammed Radwan or Rodwan. Let's have a look. I think it's Rodwan. Every newspaper article that I've seen have called this guy Mohammed Rodwan 56. Now, when I put that in, I couldn't find it, but I did find a Mohammed Ridwan. And if we have a look at, this is the picture of Mohammed. So I think we can safely say that we have the right profile. Now, what I have noticed since last night is that this guy's friends count has gone down a little bit. I mean, you'd expect it to at the end of the day, wouldn't you? But his friends count has gone down. There's a lot of posts that were in his feed which are now unavailable. I'm presuming that's because people have disassociated themselves with him, removed him as a friend, and therefore any posts that have been shared to friends, for example, are now not going to show up in his feed. As I went through this, I went all the way back. I've been back 6 months through his feed. And I've done that last night, and I've been through it again today, which is why I know there's a lot of posts that are missing now. This guy is confusing me a little bit. he's got quite a few posts on his Facebook page which are to do with Muslim, which is fine. If he's, if he's a Muslim, that's absolutely fine. That's his choice. That's his religion. I'm not here to discuss that. But what confuses me is a lot of his posts are anti-white. Okay. This guy's got a bit of a problem with white people. A lot of his posts are about racism and how white people have oppressed the blacks, and there's a lot of it. None of this has been spoken about in any of the newspaper articles at all. Again, I'm sorry about all the comments. I will try and go through the comments shortly, okay, once I've gone through this. But I just wanted to show you who this person is, okay? And then I wanted to discuss, why I think this is happening. And we can have a discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So this guy here, this is the very first post on his page, which was from the 5th of June. So he's not posted anything since the 5th of June. And we've got here, the ultimate act of white privilege and theft, yet again. Okay, so straight away, straight off of the bat, we've got this white privilege thing. Okay. I can understand why people may feel that their ancestors were oppressed. These days, yes, there still is some racism. Yes, there is some homophobes, and there are still problems. But you think about how far we have come from the days where there were slaves, okay? And it's you can't even say that now you've got problems like there used to be, but people still pull on those strings and try and make people out to be bad. I'll go through this. I'm not going to go all the way back. I'll flip through to some of the more relevant posts that are on his page, but this is going to show you that this guy was anti-white. Although there are a couple, this is why I say it's confusing, because there are a couple of posts which aren't actually anti-white. And although there are posts about being Muslim or Muslim related posts, there's also a post about a preacher, a Christian preacher in London, a black guy that got arrested some months ago. So I'm kind of confused. I'm not sure this guy had much of a grasp on reality, and he was certainly living in a bubble that has caused him to hate, really caused him to hate. You'll also notice that there's not many comments on these videos of his own. He's just shared a post without saying much about it, which makes it difficult to try and work out his thoughts. So all I can say is, based on the amount of different types of posts, he's given me the indication that he's Muslim and he is anti-white. So let's try and see what we've got. I mean, with 9th of April, we've got a picture here. I'm presuming this is in Africa. It just says, when you travel in different continents and different countries around the world, you end up realizing the following: being black is a crime. Blacks are not considered to be human beings in some parts of the world. Blacks are slaves, but not human beings. Anything wrong happens in an area, the suspect must be any black man or any black person who lives in the same area. Why do other races hate black people? I'm pretty sure it's not the fact that other races hate black people. I think it's other people hate certain black people. Like you, Mohammed, okay? You've clearly got a problem, and you clearly don't mind telling white people how you feel about them. The problem is, when you tell a white person how you feel about them, they're going to tell you what they feel about you. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that there is a problem as big as people are making out to be. Racism, transphobia, homophobia, you know, all of this kind of stuff. I don't think that the problem is as big as people are making out it is. But yet some people are brainwashed and have got this ideology now, haven't they? And it doesn't matter what they see or what they hear. They're so focused on this on this hate that they become hateful themselves. Now, this is another post. This is about, it doesn't say anything about being black in the, you know, in this image, but from the picture, clearly this is supposed to be a black guy. And it says, after a dog mutilated his genitals and the cop knocked his teeth out and in, he was shot 3 times in the chest and once in the stomach. Didn't receive medical attention for an hour. The cop was transferred to the training academy. Why did this not make national news? I get that. Why do a lot of incidents not make national news? But the thing is, going out and being aggressive and causing harm yourself is not going to fix a problem. If somebody kills, if a black man kills a white man, going and killing a black man is not then going to solve the problem, is it? So you need to do, sometimes I get really lost for words with, you know, with stuff like this, because it really gets to me. We've got a post here about Israel finally admitting to sterilising black Ethiopian Jewish immigrants without their knowledge. We've got a post here. Here we go. So see the difference. Look, this guy's seriously got some problems. There's a white guy. Here's a black guy. This child rapist will only spend 30 days in jail after molesting a boy multiple times. And this black college student sentenced to 12 years in prison for kissing a white girl. Now, I agree that that's wrong. I agree that you know, the law is completely fucked up. There is no what's the word I'm trying to think of? Continuity throughout law. Do you know what I mean? And some people will get far better deal than other people, even if they commit the same crime, and that's wrong. But it happens, unfortunately. There's nothing really that we can do about it. It's the establishment that's doing it, not us. And I think the establishment are doing it to cause a breakdown in society between different groups of people. I've already said it before. I think there are factions. Somebody questioned me on my use of the word factions, but you know, I use that word because that's the word I think of. But you've now gone from a society into these small pockets of people. You've got, you know, you've got Africans, for example. You've got your Asians. You've got your Christians. You've got your Muslims. You've got your you know, your straight people. You've got your LGBT. You know, everyone is being divided up into all of these different groups of people, and most of which seems to be the sole aim rather seems to be to create problems. Somebody said it in a video I watched the other day. You know, as a government, you're trying excuse me, as a government, you're trying to, you know, pander to different groups of people who cannot and will not ever get on. Now, with regards to Islam and LGBT, now you're seeing a problem, because there are people being attacked from the LGBT community, from people whose ideology says that it's wrong, and you're never going to change that. But this is literally just breaking down society, because I think it makes it easier for the government to deal with society in that way. Okay, rather than everybody banding together. Think about it. If everybody banded together, the government wouldn't be able to fight back everybody. And I think because they saw that things were going in that direction, the government saw that people have started banding together and coming together for a cause. So the government have, you know, then decided that this can't happen, will be overthrown. So we need to break this down. We need to stop these people having the same opinions and views so that they fight against each other. Does that make sense? Let's go down some more. See, there's some content here. You're going to start seeing that content's unavailable. But this, I'm telling you, this guy, I mean, you can go and have a look yourself, right? Mohammed Ridwan, Ridwan, okay? And you can go through his Facebook feed yourself if you want to at some point, but you're going to see that a lot of his posts are anti-white and very much shows his disdain at how black people have been treated. Here's a post. All praise is due to Allah. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. A lot of the gangs from LA walking in peace. To Nipsey Hussle shop. Welcome to the new world order. Welcome to the new world order. Yeah, there we go. But you know, that's a post about Allah, so that's clearly a Muslim related post. Support black group economics now, another post that's unavailable. You know, I want to try and get through some of these without going through all of them to show you why I've said that why I think the guy is Muslim and why I think he hates white people. And that's part of his problem, part of why he attacked that police officer, I believe. I think he went out looking to do that. I mean, number one, why else would you have a machete in your van? Secondly, you've got to be an idiot to drive around London in an uninsured van because they've got cameras fucking everywhere. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be an absolute idiot to drive around London in an uninsured van. I think he went out purposely to find somebody to hurt. I mean, this post here, Dutch MP who said Islam is a disease has now become a Muslim. Salute to the sister giving these NYC cops hell. How can you be a black cop and say nothing when they murder unarmed innocent black people? Then they cover it up. This guy's got serious problems with the police. He's got serious problems with white people in general. But the problem is, can we really blame him in the fact that most of the problems now are or seem to have been initiated by the government? Some people are more susceptible to the spiel that the government are throwing out. So I just saw a comment pop up there saying, is Muslim a race now? I'm not sure if I've missed, because I can't see the comments come up on my main screen here. So I think I've either missed something or somebody's talking to me. I don't know, but I'll get back to that page in a minute so I can see the comments. All right, where's the rest? I hope they're not the ones that have been removed. Oh, well, he certainly thinks that the government are shit as well. The real arseholes of society. I'll agree with you there. God, this is running really slow. I hate it when you have to scroll through a timeline so far back. It really starts getting a pain in the arse. Come on. Right, here's one here. Look, white people did not exist before 1681, PhD professor says. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Pretty sure white people, European people, were around well before 1681. But again, it shows that I think the thought process that's going through this guy's head. Right, we're back to March at the minute. There's a post about Christchurch double standards in the media. Again, without seeing, the problem is as well, without watching some of these videos, it's hard to know the content of the video. And I'm not going to waste your time playing the videos. Again, you can go to this profile yourself and watch them if you want to, but I'm not sure it's probably a wise thing to do. But we've got it here: Tory Islamophobia hashtag and Christchurch hashtag. Supremacist with black skin. Right, so look, guys, this I'm not going to go through anymore. I'm going to come back to you. Stop sharing. Let's do it this way, so I can see some of the comments here. It's clear, I think, from the posts on his Facebook page, which, by the way, nothing's been mentioned in any of the newspapers. I don't know if any of you have seen something that refers to him, hating white people, or, something about the posts, him being a Muslim or anything like that. I've not seen it or read it, so I'm not going to say 100%. All I can say is in my opinion, okay, because I've not seen any proof or anything written in any of the mainstream newspapers about what I've seen on his Facebook profile. And yet all of these newspapers have got access to his mainstream, to his Facebook profile. So why don't they want to tell people the details? I know that a lot of the newspapers are run by left-wingers, shall we say. And therefore, they don't like to say anything to the contrary. Do you know what I mean? They don't like to be seen to say something where somebody can call them a racist. But it's not being racist. Stating facts as a newspaper should. As if you're disseminating information, you should be giving the facts. And the facts are, he's black, which is not mentioned in any of the articles that I saw. And that was 10 articles I read, and not in one of them did it state that he was black. Listen, by the way, that's not a problem for me. I'm not saying that is an issue that he is. I'm just saying that if he was white, it would have said that a white male, so and so and so and so. Even if it had a picture of him, the description would be a white male. So why be scared to say that he's a black male or an Asian male, or wherever they might come from? And the problem is, this is one of the reasons why I think people are turning to violence. If you keep shutting people down, if you stop allowing people to have a voice, where are they going to go from there? Think about it this way. As a kid, I don't know if any of you got brothers or sisters. As a kid, did your brother or sister, when you was talking, ever try and shut you up all the time? Did they used to go, you're trying to talk and they're like, shut up, shut up. Every time you open your mouth to try and say something, it really gets on your tits and you feel like kicking them in the shins. And that is what is happening to a lot of adults now. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, a kid's only going to kick you in the shin or stamp on your toe. As an adult, you're going to lose your rag and you're going to go and do some bad shit because people aren't listening to you. What's going on here? Oh God. Again, my comments are flying past. Right. This might put a few of you off, but I need a cigarette. So I'm going to have one. I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not even for you guys. You either take me for what I am, a smoker, somebody who says what I think, or not at all. So, yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for a while on the channel. Vape, I know I keep meaning to go and get a vape, but it just doesn't taste as good as some real tobacco, unfortunately. And no, I didn't grow this myself, by the way. Oh dear. Right, and sorry, I was a bit distracted by my own picture on my phone. So problem is you keep shutting people up and not giving them a voice. They are going to turn to the next thing to get their point across. And if you keep shutting people down, they're gonna get so worked up that they are going to do what this Mohammed has done to the policeman. And again, I want to say that as much as I dislike the police in all their form, nobody deserves to have that happen to them. Call Shaw, no, I didn't, mate. They took the lot, unfortunately. Took absolutely everything. But yeah, so I'll have to go through these comments in a minute with you guys. I'll scroll up and go through some and we'll have a discussion. But what I want to know as well is I wanted to have a bit of a two-way discussion with you. I wanted to know what you guys think as well about what has happened. What do you think? Why do you think this guy has done it? What do you think is going to happen next? What do you think is going to be the next report? I know some people in the comments have said that, he's going to get let off and, and things like that. I don't think he's going to get let off. I really don't. I think he's going to probably get seen as having some mental problem and get a bit of a cushy life while he's inside. Coulshaw, earlier I said about the Machete. I think after going through the Facebook profile, from what I can see, I think he went out purposely with the machete looking for a situation. I mean, nobody in their right mind is going to drive around London in an uninsured vehicle. Okay, they've got cameras fucking everywhere. You are going to get caught. 100% you're going to get caught. Do you know what I mean? So I do think he went out purposely looking for that interaction. Yes, some people carry, knives and stuff like that in their cars, but a machete, I don't think you're just going to be sitting there with a machete in your car. There's always a chance you're going to get pulled over. And if you get pulled over with a machete, you're fucked, aren't you, at the end of the day? So I think he's purposely taken it, put it in a vehicle that day and gone out with it. I think the guy as well, Coulshaw, from going through the Facebook profile, it looks like he has. It looks like to me like he is Muslim. There's quite a lot of Muslim-related posts on his feed if you go back far enough as well. the issue here. No, Hadrian, the reason that I'm mentioning Muslim, by the way, is because the mainstream media haven't even mentioned the fact that the guy is black. Okay. First of all, they've got the age, you know, none of the police let out a statement, okay, after the event. They would have said the police officer's name. Yet, one of the mainstream media says the police officer was in his 30s. Several of them say he was 28. And another one, in two different articles, one day apart, said he was 28 in one article, 29 in another article. Secondly, they've purposely misspelt his last name based on his profile. Okay, they've called him Radwan. I think it's R-A-D. Was it R-A-D? Let me have a look. Mohammed Rodwan. They've called him Mohammed Rodwan, R-O-D-W-A-N. But his profile is spelt Ridwan, R-I-D-W-A-N. They've got his picture from his profile, but yet they've purposely spelled his surname incorrect. And every single news outlet has spelt his surname different to what his surname is on the Facebook profile. Okay. The same as, even though they've got his picture and he's clearly a black man, they're too scared to even say he was a black man. Okay. Blind people listen to the news as well. Blind people have computers that will read to them the news off the web page. So is it not right that they should disseminate all of the information, or should they keep some of it back? Of course they shouldn't keep any of it back unless it's going to cause a problem with the trial or the case. But the simple fact is, the guy was black. His Facebook profile shows that he's anti-white. There is a lot of posts on his profile on Facebook calling out white people, white privilege and white supremacists and things like that. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just telling people what I've found. I couldn't give a shit if he's black, white, purple, or looks like Mr. fucking Blobby. I don't care about that. All I'm doing is trying to pass the information that I found. And that's it. So, yeah. So there you go. And I'm not saying any more on that matter. Let me have a look through some of these. To be honest, Cole Shaw, that's one of the things I didn't do, because I know that a lot of the names that are given to Muslims and in Islam and things like that, they have specific meanings. I know that, but that's one of the things I didn't do, was look into the meaning of the name, to be honest. I mean, my name, Daniel, means judge. In the Bible, it means judge. When I'm always on the wrong side of the bench to be a judge. Hadrian, the comments, I've got no control over what people say in the comments. I don't censor people in the comments. People have opinions and ideas. I don't like people to be racist, but I do think that people should be able to talk about things, okay, without fear of persecution. And I certainly won't persecute anybody for saying things that is their opinion or their view. If somebody turned round, and excuse me, but if somebody turned round and actually said, for example, and I apologise, this please, see, I'm frightened to say this because I don't want you to think any thing bad of me, but if somebody turned round and said, you know, you're an effing bastard, you should die because you're you know, a certain colour or a certain religion. That ain't on. That ain't on. That's inciting violence, okay? And that ain't on. But to give an opinion should be allowed without persecution. I understand that some people don't like that. I get that. But this, unfortunately, is why I think we're in the situation that we're in at the moment, where people feel that they can't speak out. We have, under the Declaration of Human Rights and under the Human Rights Act, we have the right to criticise. We have the right to have an opinion and to voice that opinion. But a lot of people seem to forget that, unfortunately, specifically the government and the police. And because they say that it's bad, a lot of normal folk like you and me start thinking that it's bad to have an opinion and to be able to criticise. And this is where the problems are coming from. As I say, if you keep shutting somebody down, if you don't allow somebody to speak, all of that anger and all of that is going to build up inside them until they're just going to snap and go and do something like this guy has. You know, and as I say, I seriously believe that he has gone out purposely, you know, 2 days ago to have an interaction with somebody. If it hadn't have been a police officer, it would have been somebody else. I'm absolutely certain of that. But it just so happened it was the police officer that approached him. And unfortunately, he's the one that got, you know, attacked. Unicorn sparkle fart. Yes, indeed. Fear and oppression through political correctness. Son of Susan, it's not that I'm, well, it may come across like I'm self-censoring. I know that there are people out there that don't understand the way that I speak sometimes, in the fact that I can be quite blunt sometimes. And obviously I don't want to upset, you know, I don't care if I upset anybody per se, but I want people to understand that I'm not being racist when I talk about black, or I'm not being Islamophobic if I'm talking about Islam. Yeah, Shy Boy. Well, I don't think it's strange how words can trigger a war. Anything can trigger a war. I mean, I used to stay clear of discussions about money, politics, football, and women, and religion. Money, politics, football, women, and religion. They were the 5 things that always used to cause arguments, as far as I'm concerned. So I used to stay well clear of all of it. But now I'm a grown up. I have to. But yeah, I mean, look, you guys know, all of you know, and I'm so grateful to everybody for being such an interactive part of the community on the channel. All of you have some fantastic opinions. I might not agree with all of them, but I'll generally discuss your opinions with you. Not in that order. No, not in that order. So now you've thrown me. I've forgotten what I'm saying now. Football, women, and the others. I think, to be honest, I think they're all on the same level when it comes to causing arguments. Although women probably incite arguments rather than just be the cause of them. Only joking, ladies. Yeah, look, I have my views on Islam. I will say I am not particularly versed in all of the, you know, different aspects of it. So for me to talk in depth about that would be wrong, because I'm not I don't have enough information to be able to give a proper debate about that. I know what I see. I don't always believe what I read. I think you know that. So I try and get information from lots of different sources before I make an opinion, if I can. I always try and share those sources with you where I can. But what I can say is that from what I've seen, what I've heard, and the discussions that I've had with different people, is that one of the main problems in this country, and I'm not going to get into detail about this, but one of the main problems is the fact that we have an ideology that has been brought over here that is not compatible. Acid attacks, for example, more common in other countries than they are here. But suddenly we started hearing about a couple of acid attacks in a week, which is unheard of, really. More people walking around with knives. People are coming here from countries that are war-torn, or there is a lot of angst and aggression and anger and fighting, and they come to a country that isn't like that, and we're not prepared to deal with those, with people with those thoughts and those thought processes and that ideology, and we're seeing more and more people being hurt, which is scary. I mean, this attack happened in a place where my two youngest boys hang out. Okay. And that is fucking frightening. It's 250 odd miles away from me, right? And my two youngest boys hang around the place where this incident happened. I have to do something. I can't sit back and just allow things to carry on the way they're going. There needs to be people that are, trying at least to disseminate the information that we find. I'm not as professional as doing that as some people, but I don't care, to be honest. I'm just me, and I'm just trying to raise awareness on certain issues where I can. Which is, by the way, guys, one of the reasons why I am still in the process of working on the free speech parade, which will be awesome once we get going. And I'm really looking forward to getting to that point. But again, very time consuming, very expensive to do. So it is a slow process. It's not like Tommy Robinson or Kate Hopkins or Ezra Levant for that matter, who can simply say to his followers, help me out with this, and everyone throws money at him. I mean, I literally, I think about a quarter of my videos are monetized, and the last I think I've had 6 in the last 30. 6 videos in the last 30 videos that I've put up have been monetized. So that being the case, things are very slow. But yeah, cool shot. I think going through his Facebook profile, I think he went out purposely to do what he did. I can't see any other reason why anybody would drive around London in a vehicle without insurance and allow themselves to be stopped. He simply pulled over as far as the reports go. So I think that he did go out with the intent on causing somebody some serious harm. Not racist, but a realist. Yeah, no, you're right, Dave. I think I said that as I was talking to a friend last night on WhatsApp, and she said something to me. It wasn't about racism, but she said something to me, and I said, no, I'm just being real. Oh, she said, oh no, it's gone. Without going through my phone, I can't remember. But she said something to me, and I said, no. I said, it's not at all. It's about being, being a realist. Yes, it's the dog snoring. You probably noticed that it's been a bit quiet on the videos that I've put up recently, but yeah, she is snoring again now. So yeah, I mean, as I say, I haven't got the resources to go into things quite as much as Sky News has, or any of the others. I've not got a researcher or anything like that. I have to do everything I can in my own spare time and try and put it together and share that on the channel. So although some of you may be thinking, what was the point of this video? I think that there's some important information there. I think I've shown how the mainstream media, in some small way, either intentionally give out some misinformation or purposely omit information and not put it out there at all. All right, Hadrian, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your interaction. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. True reporter. ANPR would pick him up in minutes, and that's what I mean. The guy's gone out in London, in one of the most camera-covered areas in the country, in a vehicle, and he pulled over when the police stopped him. If he was out on a joyride or doing anything other than being out there to do what he'd done, he would have done one. He wouldn't have pulled over. Yeah, it's sickening, and I'm scared. I'm scared for this country. As I say, I think the government are breaking us down bit by bit, one by one, into smaller groups. I was trying to think of a film. I know I've seen a film that kind of embellishes how everybody's being broken down into these smaller and smaller communities that generally are going to be fighting against each other, for example. All I know, Lisa, is that he is serious. He's got serious but non-life-threatening injuries. That's the only thing that I've seen today. I have been looking to see what else has come up, but as far as I know, all that they've said is he's got serious but non-life-threatening injuries, which is lucky, obviously, considering what could have happened. So I'm just reading through some of the comments, guys. I haven't frozen. No, you're absolutely right, Lisa, and I've said this in a couple of videos. Well, this video and video that I put up earlier, and in the comments of these videos. I might not like the police, but as a human being, that should never be done to anybody. Only reason that somebody should have that done to them is if they are attacking you and you have to fight for your life. That's it. Just to do it on, for the sake of it is completely abhorrent. Demolition Man, yeah. still trying to think. I mean, Demolition Man's not the film I was thinking of. There is a film that I'm trying to think of. I think it's an older film. I think it's probably from the 90s or something, where you've just got all these different groups of people in a rundown world, where the world is just like, you know, in tatters, and everyone's fighting against each other. Everything is owned by one corporation. For example, all the housing is owned by one corporation. That same corporation owns the police and owns the army. Everybody else lives in little communities, little groups of people, and they're all fighting amongst each other. And that's exactly where we're heading. And we need to resist it, people. We have to resist. Mad Max. I mean, yeah, you've got the different groups of people fighting, but that's not the film I was thinking of. I'm sure there's lots of films that could be, but I'm thinking of one in particular, and it's probably going to come to me after we've finished this. After I come off of the live, it'll probably come to me. But well, I was going to say something else then. Yeah, we've got to resist what the government are trying to do to us. As we all know, the police are like the military arm of the government now. You know, and everything is being done to get us fighting amongst each other. As soon as a group of people get together, they suddenly become, you know, without authority, shall we say. So it's okay for the government to create groups, okay, to segregate and separate people, because if you think about it now, we've got people, you know, we've got LGBT, but even now within LGBT, I've read recently that lesbians are getting grief from the rest of the LGBT for going to Pride and things like that. So, I mean, what's going to happen is LGBT going to be broken down into L's, G's, B's, and T's. Do you know what I mean? This one group is going to get broken down even smaller. Thank you, Lisa. You just put me off my stride there, but it's very kind of you. It's probably just the camera angle and the lighting, but but thank you. So we're being broken down. As soon as people like Tommy Robinson's movement, okay, and I'm just using that as an example, okay, there's a lot of people that support Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson has brought a lot of people together. I don't agree with the way that he goes about a lot of the things that he does. But I think the underlining freedom of speech, freedom of expression and things like that, I think is very important. And what you've seen is this group of people have formed without government intervention, okay, and they don't like it. So they're trying to break it up. LGBT community has formed because the government have allowed it to form. Okay, you have your feminists. Don't get me started with them, but you've got your feminists who the government have allowed to form because the feminists hate men, okay, as we know. So that's two factions fighting together. And again, these two factions need each other. Men need women, women need men, okay, because that's the only way that we're going to keep procreating and you know, and our civilization going on and on and on. Again, nothing wrong with gay people, nothing wrong with lesbian people, but we still need to have people that can make babies. We still need to make babies. And yet the people that are allowed or can make babies are demonized by other groups of people because the government are allowing it to happen. We're not allowed to have an opinion about gay or lesbian or trans people, but it's okay for gay, lesbian and trans people to have an opinion about straight people. And we have to resist that. We have to, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, purple, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. We need to understand that we all have opinions, we all have views, but we can all still live together in this country. We can all still come together over the things that really matter, not just the things that we want to matter. Wanting something and needing something are two different, completely different things. Okay, we need to come together over the things that we need to fight for. Yes, Gareth, you're absolutely right. Keeps the population going. I mean, if, you know, as an example, if all the straight men were, or all the straight people were out of here, then eventually, apart from genetically engineered, shall we say, children, babies, then, you know, the population is going to die out. But what I'm saying is that rather than fighting against each other, rather than finding reasons to one up somebody else, because that's what's happening at the moment, we need to just remember what's important in this life, in this world. And that's us. We're all important. We're all being targeted by the government and by the police. And as I've said, what they're doing is they're creating these pockets of individuals that are doing their work for them. So yeah. Oh, do you know what? I love sex. It's just that sex hates me. Never comes to visit me anymore. Again, guys, I haven't frozen. I'm just reading some of the comments that are popping up. I mean, what can we do? What can we do to make people realise that we need to work together? I mean, I'm working on the free speech pride thing, which I think is very important. Everybody needs to be able to have a voice in order to stop things like this machete attack happening. And we're never going to wipe it out altogether. You know, there's always going to be people out there. You're going to have some mentally ill people who have got some psychopathic tendencies that are going to go and do things anyway. But we need to stop fighting with one another. If you want, I'm a straight white male. I don't go out and shove it down people's throats, excuse the pun, because if I did, then I'd be gay. But I don't go out and force people to listen to my beliefs as a straight white male. So why does everybody feel the need that they have to make such a big fuss about their group? We should be making a fuss about us as people, as a society. And we need to work together in order to resist what's happening. I don't know how we can do that. As I say, I'm working on the free speech thing. Once we get that to a point where it's running, then maybe we can work on something else. But part of the free speech pride thing that I want to do is changing some of the laws. I want to get some of the laws changed. Vicky, no, I understand that it's not going to happen. Not one person is going to be able to make it happen. It's not like Martin Luther King. Nobody's going to be able to make a speech these days and everybody go, oh, actually, yeah, you're right. And everything's all hunky-dory in the next minute. I understand that. I understand there has to be a show of force. And I don't mean fighting, I don't mean civil war, but there has to be a show of force. And that force only needs to be enough people that turn around and say, no, fuck off, no more. Do you know what I mean? Let's use Tommy Robinson as an example again. He's got a lot of people going to Downing Street, but there's not enough. Okay, they're making a noise and, you know, they're getting noticed, but they're not getting noticed enough and they're not making enough of a noise. One of the things that they are doing that they shouldn't do is in some cases turning violent. And, you know, I've seen it with my own eyes. Some of the people that have gone to these Tommy rallies have started throwing stuff and kicking off at the police. And I understand people see that as a way to move forward, but I don't think that we need to do that. If I don't know how many of you are in the UK who are watching this and how many are not, but if 50% of the country turned around and said, you know what, we're not paying council tax ever again, and actually done it, there's nothing the government could do. They'd have to bow down and say, okay. They can't lock everybody up. So you need a huge amount of people in order to be able to affect those changes. Cop Watch, I've already spoken to Cressida Dick about my free speech pride. And I sent an email to Sadiq Khan, who was less than helpful, shall we say. But yeah, I have been making some progress in the background. But as I say, there needs to be a way to bring a lot more people together. Okay. What Tommy Robinson and Danny Tomo and what's his name? You know who I mean, the other one. His name's completely gone out of my head. But anyway, what they're doing is making a fuss, but I don't think they're doing it in the right way. They're not going to be able to bring in enough people. Yes, they've got, you know, they've got several thousand people who might turn up. No, not Richard Colshaw. The other one that got, not Avi, the other one. The one that called Anna Soubry a Nazi. His name's just completely gone out of my head and I can't think of it. James Goddard. That's it, Andy. Thank you. That's the one. You know, they've got a lot of followers and they're able to generate income from their followers to be able to set these marches up and do all the rest of that stuff. However, I think they're doing it in a way that is not going to bring enough people on board. Okay. There's a lot of people that probably believe in some of what Tommy Robinson and his supporters say, but they don't want to be involved in a group of people that potentially could turn violent. And that's not what, you know, that's not what I want. I want to be able to do things in a peaceful way, but with enough people to make them notice and to make them sit up and notice. Okay. But again, it's difficult, isn't it? It's not something that can be done overnight. And I think that free speech is something that most people are interested in and most people hold dear. And if I can have a part in setting something up that is going to draw enough people in, then that's what I want to do. Cop watch. I think you're right. I absolutely think you're right. Better to use. There we go. Cop Watch UK says better to use rules against them instead of violence. Cool. I didn't know you could do that. Well, that's cool. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if you have to use their own weapons against them, don't you? And although laws are written in such a way that they can interpret them sort of how they want, there are certain things you can do to mitigate yourself against any wrongdoing. I mean, I've spoken. I sent an email to Cressida Dick, okay, head of the Met Police, and spoke to her about setting up a march, maybe next year, if we can get to that point by then, from Speaker's Corner in London, and going past Downing Street and on to the Houses of Parliament. And if there's enough people, we don't need to be violent. You think about it. If you've got 10,000 people all there for a march, you think of the disruption that that's going to cause without any violence. Does that make sense? We don't need to be violent. We can use the law to our advantage. Oh, I know there's police watchers here. That's all right. Again, I'm not, I don't think I say anything that, well, in fact, I know I've not said anything to get me arrested. Otherwise, they'd have come knocking on my door by now. Yeah, Gareth, yeah. Just because of that, I'm going to pop you on the screen as well. A mass march, that's what we need. But again, I don't think Tommy, Avi, Ezra, James, or any of those, I don't think that they're going to be able to bring in a big enough crowd, because people are going to be afraid that violence is going to happen. There seems to be a precedent, doesn't there, with those marches, and that precedent seems to be that Antifa turn up, the police allow them to turn up to cause an issue so that the police can then break it up. But what happens is Antifa turn up, and you've got a lot of people that follow Danny Tomo, Tommy Robinson, James Goddard, etc., that are all, there's a lot of younger people in that crowd, and they're easy to trigger. Okay, so Antifa turn up, start saying a few things, and then you get people on the other side that start retaliating, and that's not what you need, because that's just going to cause the police to turn around and say, right, now we can stop it, now we can get involved. I mean, I've had people yelling and screaming at me and about stuff, and I couldn't give a fuck what people say about me. I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing, and that way, if that person then comes and attacks me, they're fucked, not me. Do you know what I mean? Oh, how do I get that off? Hang on. There it is. Yeah, discipline. We need people that can go on a march and they're focused on what they're there for, and not get distracted by knobheads like Antifa. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I don't say things about people that I won't say to them. So I've got a few posts on Twitter where I've told Antifa exactly what I think about them. Yeah, we need to be focused, guys, right? We need to stop fighting amongst ourselves. We need to understand that opinions and views and criticism is what helps a society progress. And by stifling our ability to have criticism, opinions, and views is stopping society from progressing. What we're doing is we're being broken down into small communities of people who are going to start fighting amongst each other. And that is going to do the police's and the government's job for them, okay? Because the police won't have 10,000 people coming together, because everyone will hate each other. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to do. And we need to see past that. And we need to start thinking back to, you know, what do we need? Not what do we want, but what do we need? And I think until we get that, until that sinks into a lot more people, I think we're still going to struggle, and we're going to see a lot more incidents such as the one with the Machete attack. Yeah, I can't see it getting any better until we're able to come together. What's that about? Somebody said about stickers. I actually did have some sticker designs made. I do have some hoodies and t-shirts. I'm still looking into using a different company at the moment. At the moment, I'm using, I can't remember what they're called, Streamlabs. At the moment, I'm using Streamlabs. I need to look into using Teespring, because Streamlabs is all in dollars, not in pounds. But I'm so used to using dollars with stuff that I do online that I forget that other people might not be. William, thank you for joining us. I didn't realise it was so early or late there in Sydney, but I appreciate you coming on. It's nice to know that the messages are getting, you know, such a reach. So thank you. Appreciate your time. Yeah, you're right. Groups get infiltrated to cause violence. You're absolutely right. But what you got to remember is, if you are all focused, if you've got 100 people and 90 of you are focused on what you're there for, and there's 10 infiltrators, for example, okay, if you remain focused on the reasons that you're there, okay, and remember what you're actually fighting for, then these people that are trying to cause division within your group, they're not going to get anywhere, you know. And when you do find people like that, you disassociate yourself with them publicly. Do you know what I mean? As soon as I would, if I had a group of people and I realised that some of them were trying to cause disharmony or problems within the group, I would disassociate with them. They wouldn't be allowed to attend events. That's just me. There are other organisations, shall we say, that don't bother doing things like that. But I think if you're gonna have a movement that means something, you've got to look at it and you've got to treat it like a business as such. So that's my views anyway. Yeah, name and shame the infiltrator. If people hear somebody who's trying to cause problems within your group, within your movement, then the people at the top need to know, and that person who's causing those problems need to be outed and gone. You're not going to be able to do it with everybody. There will be people that are able to sneak around that, but if you stay on top of things and you treat it like a business, you treat it like you're running a business, and you cut the dead wood off as quickly as possible, then I think the movement will last a lot longer and can get a lot bigger. You're right, Coolshaw, you're right. But again, that's if you're trying to run it on your own, if you're trying to do something on your own, if there's just one person who is in charge of the movement, so to speak, that's not what I want to create. That's not what I want to do. I want to bring people together in different parts of the country and create groups themselves. Lots of small groups are easier to manage than a huge group. Okay, so you have somebody you trust running each small group, if that makes sense. A bit like you've got your CEO, and then you've got. This is why I say you treat it like a business. You've got somebody or a group of people at the top who have formed it, and then you've got your area managers, so to speak. Then you've got your managers and your team leaders and things like that. And that, I think, makes it easier to. Yes, cultural, exactly. Chapters or branches, exactly. So you have these smaller groups in different areas with people running those smaller groups, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. But I think it can be done. I think it can be done. Do I think I'm the person to do it? I don't know. I want to try and do something. I want to try and help. I want to try and make a difference. Whether or not I can, I don't know. But it all boils down to will people want to get involved in a movement? Will people stand up for their rights? How many people can we get to take that step and say, hang on a minute, I've had enough. I'm not having the government take any more of my rights away, or the police, or whoever it might be. Do you know what I mean? So there we go. I like talking, which is why this live's gone on for an hour and a half. Excuse me. No, Dave, I'm all right, actually. I've only had one coffee. I made sure I emptied my bladder before I sat down. I've not seen that video, Bill, although somebody has been trying to send me some information while I've been on this live stream, but I haven't looked at it because I didn't want to leave you guys just sitting there. Bastian, demonstrations are laughed at by the establishment. They are, because they're not big enough, in my opinion. There's never really been, not in the recent past anyway, there's never really been demonstration that's really held any weight, because there's just not enough people. Right, I've just had a message saying that something a bit more graphic has appeared. So I'm going to look at that first before I show it to you. make sure that it is related to what we've been talking about. Sorry guys, I'm just watching this video before I do anything with it. Oh shit. Okay. Right, okay. Luckily, it's not as graphic as the video that I put up. So so for you guys that are watching at the moment, I'm going to share my screen. Now I can't hear any sound because I've got my microphone plugged in by USB and it stops my sound completely, which is a pain. So please let me know if you can't hear anything. I'll just, right. Now, clearly, he has hit the officer as soon as he's got out of the car, because you don't actually see him hit the officer with the weapon. Why the female officer is not on top of him. Oh, good. Somebody just kicked him in the head. Good. Fair play. And yes, I know I said I'm against violence unless it's for preservation of life. And that police officer was nearly dead. No sound. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that there's no sound. I will upload that video to my channel once I finish this live stream. That is real, yeah. As I say, guys, I think the only way that we're going to be able to make any difference is if enough people join the cause, so to speak. And I'm not talking, as I say, I'm not talking about going out and being violent or anything like that. Disruption is enough. Disruption is enough. If there's enough people, if you've got 1,000 people standing outside the gates of Downing Street, what's that going to do? It's not going to do a lot, is it? If you've got 10,000 people standing outside the gates of Downing Street, how much disruption is that going to cause? At which point, people are going to have to start taking notice. People need to understand that we've got to work together. Coleshaw is something that I need to sort out, to be honest. Vicky, yeah, you're absolutely right. I do as well. As I say, my kids live near and go to the place where this happened. That guy wasn't there on the off chance. He didn't have that machete in a van on the off chance. It wasn't just happened to be there. As far as I'm concerned, he went out purposely with a foot-long machete, a 12-inch or whatever machete he went out with, in a van that was uninsured in an area that is covered by more CCTV cameras than anywhere else in the country. I think that speaks volumes. True reporter, yes, I know. Thank you. I did get your message. I've got, and I have just shown the video on here. Thank you for letting me know about that. I'm going to upload that to my channel after we've finished on this live. So thanks again for the heads up. People are afraid to be arrested. Am I? The only thing that I'm afraid of being arrested is that my dogs are left. Because the last time I was arrested, well, not the last time I was arrested, but when I was arrested for cultivation of cannabis, the police said, "Oh, we'll send somebody round to sort your dogs out for you." I was kept in a cell from Saturday night till Monday afternoon when I went to court. I then went to court. I came out of court because I had to go to Crown Court, come out of magistrates, went home, and my dogs were still in the garden. They'd been in the garden since Saturday night, and this was now Monday afternoon. I had a card put through my letterbox from the RSPCA. Okay. I phoned the RSPCA, and the RSPCA said it was the police that phoned them. And yet the police said that, that they would bring the dogs into the house, and they left them out for 2.5 days. Absolute wankers, the lot of them. And then tried to get me done by the RSPCA. I mean, what the fuck? The RSPCA actually said it happens all the time with the police. But that's the only thing that I'm afraid of. If I get arrested, I'm afraid that the dogs are going to be left on their own. And that's it. Other than that, no, I'm not afraid of getting arrested. If I actually do something wrong and I get arrested, then fine, I have to deal with the consequences. My fault for doing something wrong. If I get arrested for doing something like taking photos, like what happened in February, then, I'm still not afraid of being arrested because I know that it's going to fall through and they're going to have to let me out. Do you know what I mean? No, it wasn't one plant. It was, well, let's just say the report, the police report said I think it was 57 plants. I just think if people really want to make a difference, we need to work together and we need to have the same objectives. And we can't do it all in one go. We've got to make small changes, but we need a lot of people in a. Arctic Void. I choose not to answer that question on the grounds that I may or may not incriminate myself. Cop Watch, I never said anything about the police being able to count. All I said was the police count was 57. But I didn't say they could count. What the plan is, guys, with regards to Free Speech Pride, what the plan is to get a website up and running. Again, I've made templates and it's one of the things that I used to do, but building whole websites is a time consuming and expensive thing. So, no comment, Lisa. So, it's going to take some time. It may take a year to get to that point. As I say, I'm not like Tommy Robinson, Ezra, or Danny Tomo, or any of them who have got, tens of thousands of followers, who can just turn around and say, "Look, guys, give me some money." I'm putting as much as I can into doing what I do, into getting a website going, etc. And once we get to that point, I'm going to have somebody design some merchandise for the Free Speech Pride, and all sorts of other stuff that we can sell and then generate an income for the movement as well. So, but I'm also going to be working with some people who are very clever, very, very clever people when it comes to the law, to make sure that everything that we do remains legal and lawful. And like has been mentioned, we'd ideally set up sort of chapters, if you like, throughout the country, where there are people who are in charge of small groups of people, and then they only come a big group when we all come together for a meeting or a march or whatever. So, yes, there is free software to build a website, but it's not very good. I've got the stuff. I've got all the stuff to build a website. It's just that I'm not very, what's the word? I'm not very artistic. I'm not very creative. Most of my stuff is quite standard, but I was able to sell some templates and things like that for basic websites. But yeah, I'm not particularly creative and artistic, unfortunately. So there's a lot of things to think about. I mean, you need copy for the website, need images for the website, need the website build itself. There's all sorts of things to take into account, and it's a slow, as I say, a slow and expensive process. But yeah, it would be awesome because there's a lot of you that have been following me since I started the channel, and for that I'm extremely grateful. And everybody else who's on this chat now, who's on this live, that's joined the channel since then, I am extremely grateful to every single one of you. I always try and interact with you. So when we get to that point, it would then be a case of hopefully sort of appointing people to different areas. And then when we've got something that needs to be said, that would be disseminated to each of you, and then you would then disseminate that to the people in your chapter, so to speak. But the only way we're going to do this, as I say, guys, is if we have a plan and we all work together for the same goal. The site build could probably get it done for about £1,000, to be honest. It needs to be secure, obviously. I need to have a SSL certificate, which, yes, you can get free ones, but I don't want to risk anybody's details with a free SSL certificate. So we'd need an SSL certificate. We'd need autoresponder software to email people, and there's all sorts of different things that need to go in it. A way for people to be able to buy things and to donate and stuff like that, because all of these types of causes, has to be run on, has to generate its own income, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So there we go. But I don't want to keep talking about that, because it sounds like I'm begging, and I'm not. I'm just saying I'm happy to keep putting in the money that I can into getting different bits done. But it's just going to take some time to do, and that's it. So there we go. So I'm going to start wrapping this up in a second anyway, guys, because this has been going for almost 2 hours now. And I do need another cup of coffee. But I want to thank all of you, and anybody that has been on the live and disappeared already. If you come back and see this part, I want to thank you as well for being part of this live this evening. There's always things to do, Lisa, always things to do. Whether people can get to a march or not, it could be just emailing people or giving out flyers or anything like that. It could be something as simple as that. But if people want to help and they can't do certain things, then I'm always grateful of the help, and I will be grateful of the help, and I'm sure we can find ways to do that. A quick rundown of the alleged Machete attack. Well, all I can tell you, Jayan 4, is that it appears that Mohammed Ridwan was driving an uninsured van. In my opinion, he was driving it purposely to get stopped. He had a 12-inch machete in the vehicle with him. He was stopped by the police, as you're going to be in London, most camera-covered place in the UK. He got out. He spoke to the police officer for a few minutes. He got back into the van, which looked like an attempt to drive off. After a few seconds, he's jumped back out again, immediately struck the police officer on the head with the machete. They've both stumbled backwards. The police officer's fallen to the ground and almost immediately pulled his taser out and managed to get a shot into the body of Mohammed Ridwan. He then fell to the floor, and I mean, that's as far as we've got at the moment, unfortunately. From what I can tell, from what I've seen, the guy, I've been through his Facebook page, and the guy isn't very keen on white people, number one, or the police for that matter. And it appears that he may be, from some of his posts on his page, it appears that he may be Muslim as well. But again, I can't say for sure that he is. It's just based on the amount of Muslim-related posts on his Facebook page. But other than that, there's not anything else that I can tell you about that incident, unfortunately. There is a video on my channel already which shows the aftermath of the attack. Somebody has sent me another video. True Reporter has sent me another video which I'm going to upload after this, and I'll upload that to the channel as well. But now you've got this live to explain, not to explain, but to go along with those videos as well. Yeah, Lee, yes, somebody else said about Lee Rigby as well. And it's sickening, but as I say, it's going to get worse unless we can get these people to understand that it's not about, or in the majority of cases, it's not about being racist. It's not about being homophobic or any obic. It's not about that. Yes, there are always going to be people that will be racist or transphobic or Islamophobic or whatever it might be. There's always going to be those people. But the majority of people don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit with what you are or what you do. But when you start stifling people's ability to have an opinion and to express themselves and to criticize, that is then going to turn to violence, and this is going to get worse and worse and worse. Do I think it was more staged? I don't know, to be honest. I don't think it was staged. I think it's a result of what's happening. I wouldn't say, in my opinion, that it was staged. I would say that this is an inevitable result of what is happening in this country, to be honest. And I know you're going to tell me off because I've literally not long put one out, but I'm going to have another one because after this, I've got to let the dogs out and have some dinner and all sorts. And I've got some housework to do as well. But yeah, as I say, I don't think it was staged. I think it was it's just an inevitable result of the government creating these pockets of people who have ideologies that are completely against each other's, and it's going to cause problems. No worries, Greg. Anybody on here that wants to go and support True Report, a True Reporter? I would appreciate it, and I'm sure he would as well. This is the guy that told me about the video last night. Left it a bit late though, Greg. Thanks. And who told me about the video, which I've just shown you as well. Thoroughly nice guy. He's got some content on his channel you might be interested in looking at. So, who to blame for this nonsense? Well, ultimately, it's going to be us, isn't it? We're all to blame because that's how the government work, and it will be to do with the right. It will be to do with the far right, radicalizing people, etc., etc. Although, in this case, it was a black man who simply doesn't like white people. I mean, is that a far right thing? But we'll see. We'll see what happens over the course of the next few days, because I'm sure there'll be some more information come out. Speaker's Corner, yeah, exactly. And that's why I contacted Cressida Dick and Sad Boy Khan. Cressida Dick said that it would be fine, providing our values are in line with that of the Met Police. It would be fine for us to have a march from Speaker's Corner, where we could have a bit of a speech session, and then on to Downing Street, cause a bit of a disruption there with several thousand people, and then on to Parliament, and cause a bit of disruption there as well. So Warrior Wales, I'm going to highlight that one for the moment, because I think you're absolutely right. The government, we are paying the government to stifle our rights. We are funding the government to take our rights away. Absolutely. And Vicky, you're not the only one. There's plenty of people out there that feel the same way. But again, 1,000 people turning up at Downing Street shouting "Free Tommy Robinson" isn't going to get the government to change their minds. It's not going to get them to change any policies. Even 5,000 people is probably not really going to have much of an effect. But if there are enough people, You know, if you could think of it this way, I don't know how many towns there are in the UK, but if you could get, you know, 100, 200 people from every town in the UK, which I don't think is impossible. But if you could get 100 or 200 people from every town in the UK, maybe, and more from the big cities, you could have more than enough people to attend an event and really, you know, get noticed. Now, I'm pretty sure there is a somewhere in the common law or constitutional law that says that we can throw people out of the government. I'll have to look into that properly. I know somebody that deals with all that stuff, so I'll speak to them. But I'm pretty sure if enough people turned up at Houses of Parliament and went in and sacked all the politicians, we could just go and take their seats. How you doing, Glenn? The MSN would boycott it. The MSM wouldn't be able to boycott it if there was enough people, because there'd be too much fuss. The MSM wouldn't be able to hide it. Everybody will know about it. That's what I mean, Gareth. With regards to constitutional law and things like that, I'm sure there is a passage in there somewhere that says that we can. And again, it's, you know, don't quote me on this because this isn't the exact wording, but I'm sure there's something in there that says we can go in and sack off all of them twats in government. So welcome back, Lisa. Oh, I didn't mean this to go over 2 hours. I'm now on 2 hours 3 minutes. I said I was wrapping this up as well, didn't I? But there we go. See, I get carried away talking to people. I enjoy interacting with people. You're welcome, Glenn. I hope it helped you. You only get Jeremy Corbyn if we allow him in. If you can get rid of one, you can get rid of another. Lisa, exactly. The government work for us. We pay the government. So they can use breach of the peace against us. But again, if there's several thousand people there, what are they going to do? They can't arrest everybody. They will target people and hope that people fight back, like we see in all these videos. Okay, we see people go to these protests, and then the police antagonize people either by bringing in Antifa or by doing it themselves with a show of force. And then people retaliate. People need to learn not to retaliate. If you turn your back on the police, if they're giving you loads of shit and you turn your back on the police, okay, it means they've then got to do you from behind. Excuse the pun. I don't mean bend you over and shaft you, although wouldn't put it past some of them. But Cop Watch, with regards to trespass, if you're on public ground, if you're in the street, there's not a lot they can do. Trespass is a civil matter, first of all. If they ask you to leave, then it becomes aggravated trespass. But again, if there's several thousand people, There's not enough cells in London to lock everyone up. So what they do, as I say, what they do is they antagonize people so that they can start arresting people. They don't need to arrest everybody. They will start a situation that will antagonize people and wind people up enough to retaliate against them. And then they will arrest you with force to frighten everybody else. If you know that, then then they're on the back foot. If you know and understand that, then there's less they can do. A Section 42 dispersal order, can you imagine them trying to give a Section 42 dispersal order to several thousand people? Haven't they got to, they've got to write it out, haven't they? They're going to be there all day. This is what I mean. The more people there are, okay, the better you're going to be able to deal with it. When you've only got 1,000 people there and there's 100 police officers, for example, okay, and they pull their batons out and they start, pushing and shoving people, it's when people start pushing and shoving back, that's when the problem starts. As Vicky's just said there, it just popped up, okay? If the police start pushing and shoving and then everybody, let's say you've got 7,000 or 8,000 people there, everybody just sits down on the floor, okay? No aggression, no swearing, just everybody sits down on the floor like a child having a tantrum. But what are they going to do? If you keep doing it, then eventually you're going to cause that much disruption. You're going to cause that much disruption that people are going to start paying attention. You're going to cause disruption to businesses and to roadways. People trying to get to work and back and things like that. As long as you're not being violent, as long as you're not trying to incite any violence or anything like that, then I don't see what the problem is. Then they use tear gas, then they are instigating it. If you are not a threat and they use tear gas, then can you imagine how many civil claims will be going in? Do you know what I mean? So think of it this way. D-Day, Normandy, okay? When they all got off of the boats and, God bless them all who gave their lives to give us, the freedoms that we're supposed to have. But imagine when all those boats landed in Normandy and they all got off the boats and they all ran, okay? Lots and lots and lots and lots of people died, okay? But they kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and eventually, we got through. Oh, and this is the thing. It doesn't. They're going to throw stuff at you, but again, this is one of the problems. People are frightened because they think they're going to get hurt, and if you go to when you start seeing a protest where people are getting arrested and people are getting pushed and shoved and hurt, other people go, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to get hurt." But the reason that happens is because the protesters then turn against the police or they retaliate against Antifa or whoever else. If you understand how to do it properly and you can keep a calm head, and you have groups of people who have, even if it's a group of 20 people and they've got one person that's directing that group of 20 people, for example, and it's easier to keep them calm. I would love a coffee, Lisa. Thank you. Cool, sure, I know. But do you know what? I am willing to get pushed and shoved and hit if it comes to that. I'm not going to retaliate. But if it comes to me getting pushed and shoved and hit for trying to stand up for for the rights that we're supposed to have, that millions of people have died for, then I'm sure I can put up with a few bruises and a few broken bones for that. Do you know what I mean? Good evening, Mr. CC. Nice to see you. To see you. Nice. Milk and 1 sugar, please, Lisa. Very kind of you. Cool. So this is about a general strike. If there's enough people creating a disruption, you won't need to have a general strike because people won't be able to get to work. You get 10,000 people in the streets of London. Okay, as I say, you think of the disruption that that's going to cause. Not even just in London, in every major city. You know, it's going to cause enough disruption in that area for people to take notice. And that's ultimately what I want to do. I want people to take notice. Oi, oi, what are you all doing saying hello to Current Climate for? This is my chat. This is my channel. I'm only joking, CC, my friend. I've heard about the Coast Watch thing. You're right, Callus DJ. You're absolutely right. People talk and talk and talk and talk and take no action. Okay, I'm working on getting the things in place that I need to get in place at the moment. As I've said, it's an expensive and time-consuming thing to do myself, but I'm working on it. And once the website's up and running, I'm going to throw some money out of my pocket into advertising it, and we'll get some advertising. We'll get it noticed on Facebook, and I know Facebook's shit, but at least it's an advert that won't be kicked off. But again, it's a slow process. It's a big movement, and it's a big thing to do, so it's going to take some time. I just want people to understand that I'm not, I've said this is what I'm going to do, and I've said this in previous videos. I just want people to know how serious I am about doing it. As I say, the more people that can help, the better. At the end of the day, it can only help the cause move along faster. To be honest, Coleshaw, I don't necessarily agree with everything that they do. I think that the way a lot of these movements go about doing what they do, and I've said this already tonight, causes more damage than good. Which is why I'm trying to talk through this evening with you all, so you know what my sort of plane of thought is. When you have people, you have people that go to these rallies purposely to cause an incident so that they can then turn around and say, oh my God, look how I was treated. And that, although it rallies the people that are in the movement together, the people outside the movement are going to look and go, oh, fuck that, I don't want to be a part of that. And that's not what I want. If people want to be part of a free speech pride movement, then I won't turn anybody away. The only time I'll turn people away is if they are causing bad press and giving a bad image. That's it. As I say, this is something I'm going to look at from a business point of view and run it as a business point of view. No, from a business point of view. And weak links, Deadwood, bad apples have to go. Thank you, the explorers. Thank you for joining us this evening. Yeah, mass turnouts, mass peaceful turnouts. As I say, people just need to understand that the police will try and incite a reaction. And the thing is, if you know that's going to happen, it's just saying, look at it this way, right? If you know it's going to rain, if you know it's going to rain 100%, but you don't take a brolly with you and you get wet, okay? You know it's going to rain. You know you're going to get wet. You don't take a brolly. You can't get pissed off because you haven't got a brolly. You just go, it's my own fault for not taking a brolly. You be prepared for things to happen, and it's easier to deal with. So if you know the police are going to try and provoke you, then you can deal with that by turning around and saying to yourself, I'm not going to let them provoke me. Okay, so they've pushed me. Okay, I'm not going to push them back. You know, that kind of thing. You just have to know what you're getting into before you get into it, and you can deal with it. Smegma head. It's not very nice, is it? So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there for this evening. That's two and a quarter hours. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this evening. I always try and respond to people when they comment on all of my videos. And I'm obviously, when I do a live video, it's a lot harder to comment to reply to everybody's comments. Jay, I think peaceful protests, I think it's the disruption. It's not necessarily the fact that you're protesting. You know, it's not the fact that you're going there and saying, right, we want this, we want that. I think it's the disruption that will get noticed if there's enough people. As I say, no, I didn't see. That was the dog yawning. You'd know about it if I did, trust me. So yeah, I think that with enough people, I think, yes, change can happen. It's happened in the past. But nowadays, people are scared to take action, in my opinion. So yeah, there we go. Excuse me. Yes, Fluke. Do you know what? I see other people say that all the time and I forget. I should have done it earlier when there was 100 odd people on here. But guys, your commenting helps to get this video out there. Somewhat. I will say that somewhat, because YouTube, well, let's put it this way. My earnings went from £60 every 3 months. Yes, £60 in 3 months. And it's gone down to £12. Okay, so at the moment, yeah, my YouTube ad revenue is about £12 every 3 months. So, but liking, commenting, sharing, you know, even if YouTube aren't pushing my videos, which they're not, by you guys doing it for me really, really helps. And it helps to grow the channel, and it helps to get the word out there and show people exactly what's going on. Fluke, you didn't phone me the other night, by the way. Just thought I'd mention. Don't phone me now because I'm on a live, but yeah, you didn't phone me the other night. CC's just asked how Spitshine's doing. Do you know? Yes, Dave. That's why I'm on rollies. Can't afford tailor-made at the moment. Not at £12 a packet, whatever they are. Jeez. I remember when I used to be able to spend my lunch money on them. Buy a pack with my lunch money. Well, do us a favour, Fluke. Can you give us a ring tomorrow? Tomorrow afternoon. Can you do that? Will you be available? Actually, and this video is not sponsored, by the way, but I'm gonna mention something here to you. Herbert Longrod, who I'm a bit pissed off he's not come on here actually to say hello. I'm gonna have to have words with him. But Herbert Longrod told me about a book the other day, which I purchased solely off of his recommendation. And that book is this one. It's called The Chimp Paradox. Now, me being me, I didn't just buy the book. I bought the CD as well, so that I can read the book and also I can listen to the CD when I haven't got time to read the book. And this book, The Chimp Paradox, Mind Management by Professor Steve Peters, explains to you, as exactly as I was saying a minute ago, about the police will try and antagonize you into a response. This book, which so far is really, really interesting, really, really interesting. And you can ask Current Climate as well, because he's got a copy of this too. But this book actually tells you how to deal with that initial response when somebody tries to piss you off. Okay. And it teaches you how to control it. So I picked this up. I think it was £8 on Amazon. It's quite a thick book, quite a few pages. It's 356 pages. And the CD actually comes with that many CDs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 CDs it comes with. And yes, on Amazon I bought the book. Yeah. The Chimp Paradox. As I say, it explains to you why you have those initial thoughts. When somebody tries to piss you off, for example, it will explain to you why you have those initial thoughts and how to deal with those thoughts. Okay. So if somebody tries to upset you, you think about the chimp that lives inside your head. Okay. And it will help you to understand the situation, and it will help you to deal with it a lot better. Okay. Thoroughly recommend it so far, and I'm only on like the second chapter, I think. But there we go. By the way, this video is not sponsored by them. Cheers, Fluke. Thank you. Yeah. Only when you get time, mate. Just make it in the afternoon sometime, and that'll be cool. Right, I keep saying it, and I'm saying it again. I am now off, guys. Thank you so much to everybody. I really enjoyed talking to you, and you know, I'm glad that many of you agree and are interested in the plans that I've got with regards to free speech pride. I really hope that we can do something with it and move it forward. As I say, it's going to take some time. Lisa, it's called the chimp paradox. I'll type it in. Oh. That's what it's called. All right, CC, I'm taking it that comment's for me. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Thank you for joining me. I know it's a Saturday night and you could have been out doing other things. It's still early enough for you to get out and get on the lash. Yeah, I'll be about anyway to answer any comments that might pop up after this video is processed. And I will also upload that second video as well that you've seen a few minutes ago. But yeah, feel free. If you want to keep talking, we can do that in the comments below this video. Once it's processed, well, it doesn't even have to be once it's processed, but just drop your comments in the normal comment box, comment area under the video, and I will reply shortly. Other than that, thanks again. Take it easy and speak to you soon.